Well, hello there, everybody. Ant-Man here, heading out to the Everglades for some nighttime hunting with my buddy Kevin and his friend Brian. We're going to find the usual suspects, some pythons, and we're also going to find some very, very beautiful specimens of some native snakes here. So go ahead and grab yourself a beverage of your choice, kick back, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's get right into it.
Yep.
It's actually going back in.
Same people pulled up and stopped in front of us again.
Alright. I don't know how I'm gonna get to the head on this. Male. Little 7-foot male will start the night off.
Yep.
Not a bad snake. Very feisty, very bitey, but it's got a little bit weird weather conditions right now. We have the daytime temps are good, there's no rains, it's nice and humid, everything looks good, but the temperatures are dropping really quick. So tonight we started out our hunt at 77, so we're probably already dropping down to 75. And lately the kiss of death has been 73 degrees. So we got a little bit of heat left, but we're gonna make the most of this, sundown push. But one down, bag and tag them, let's go get another one.
Too bad I'm not searching for mosquitoes. Man, I'd be making one heck of a living. Bugs, 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 and more bugs. Not as bad as it is some years, but it's pretty darn bad.
Well, one of the native snakes that's making a pretty good resurgence in Florida is the Florida king snake. These kind of go up and down in their numbers over the years. Sometimes they're pretty scarce, but over the past few years they've been fairly abundant, and sometimes in South Florida they can be very pretty in what used to be known as the Brooks king snake, kind of a lighter yellow coloration. So this next specimen that we found was actually a pretty good looking snake, so let's check it out.
So anyway, we're out here this time of year. The king snakes are winding down in their breeding, but they're really active, and over the past, I don't know, 2-3 weeks they've been popping up pretty much nightly. And even though it's no longer considered a valid subspecies, it used to be considered Lamprepeltis getula brookesi. Now it's just Floridana. But us old-timers who live down in here in South Florida, in extreme southern Dade and Collier counties, you would get king snakes that were very light in coloration like this, and they used to be called Brooks king snakes in the pet trade. So we still call them Brooks simply because of their light coloration, but it is a variation. They run the gamut. Some areas where they're like this, they have a very, very heavily banded pattern. The characteristics that used to make a Brooks king snake would be the lack of pattern. So the banding on the back would be very indistinct. They'd have a very high band count, and they were said to have a smaller head. I can't say that I've necessarily seen that in my 50 years, but definitely the higher band count and the lighter coloration. This one is what I would call probably about 70% brookesi. Sometimes you see them that are, you know, a good deal better than this, and more often than not you see them they're a lot worse looking than this. But this is a male, as you can tell from the size of the tail there past the cloaca. But another characteristic on a good brookesi would be the belly is very pale, and this one has quite a prominent dark pattern. So this one falls somewhere in the 70% range. And as a lot of the king snakes that we are seeing in South Florida over the last 20-30 years, they're kind of skinny. Don't know what pathogen it is, but we call it king snake disease. A lot of them look very sickly. This one's not really bad, but you can see the spine, you know, kind of showing there. So this snake's a little bit underweight, but nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and let the snake go and move on and see if we can't find some more pythons. All right, I'm going to let this king go.
Going back to the ecosystem.
go ahead and take this for a minute? Come on, catch this down. Yeah. I think with my hernia I can still.
Alright, 9.5.
Yeah, something like that. Alright, first snake that I've actually captured post surgery. I just had some pretty major hernia surgery a week and a half ago, and I'm not supposed to lift anything over 5 pounds, so I'm going to leave this snake on the ground. Kevin spotted it. I've been doing all the driving, but I needed to get my hands on the snake because I haven't caught one in a while. And it's funny, just from leaning over to grab that thing, it's hurting pretty good right here. But this is actually a pretty good snake, especially for this time of year at night.
Man, I was so ready to give up on that whole strip too.
It's a female. This is the furthest in this particular section.
Furthest east.
Yeah, it's furthest east I've ever found one. Yeah, you can even see the light coloration in here that in the front of her that's typical of the females. Yeah. But she could have been sexually viable. She's big enough. It would have been her first year if she was, but she doesn't look like she bred this year because she's got good body weight.
Yeah,
and she would be skinnier than this. So this was either she just wasn't ready yet, but yep, it's a girl. So that's number 2 for the night. I can't really lift it. Oh man, I can feel that. Oh man, remind me not to do that again. That hurts. So yeah, we'll keep the snake on the ground, and I'll go ahead and let Kevin bag it up before I'm in too much pain. But awesome, cool. Kevin's gonna go down and show us a nice big yellow rat snake. Alright, look at that. What a beautiful animal. And as you see, if you handle them gently, and you're used to handling snakes like Kevin is, you're not prone to getting bit. If you notice, what he's doing is he's letting the snake freely flow through his hands. He's not restricting its motions. And so the snake has no inclination to bite him because it doesn't feel threatened. So you just kind of come from underneath like he's doing, and as it moves forward, you just keep moving your hands up underneath, coming from under its belly so it doesn't see, and you can pretty much handle a wild snake like this. And these are bitey snakes. Yellow rat snakes are pretty prone to giving you a nip, but you notice he's letting it kind of just keep flowing along like that. And you know, if he was to just grab it and let it, you know, resist its movements, it would turn and bite him. But pretty cool. That's a big snake too, you know. It's probably a good 4.5 feet long.
It's got a little bit of a scar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little chunk of it.
It's not as pretty as some of the ones we see here, but nonetheless, it's a good start to the morning. We're out looking today for big pythons, big gravid females, or shedding snakes. But there you go. See, snake's giving a little bit of a look now. There it goes. He's used to this kind of stuff, so not an issue. We'll let it head back out there and finish off its morning. Good deals. I'll film the release on it. And there it goes. It's a good size snake, beautiful too.
Yeah. Good colors on it.
Cool. And off we go to continue.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that episode. We got to see some really beautiful snakes. Of course, the pythons are always gorgeous, with spectacular patterns on these snakes. But it was really nice to see that the really beautiful Florida king snake, and that was actually a pretty good-looking yellow rat snake also, what they might have even called an Everglades rat snake back in the old days, even though they can get a lot more orange than that particular specimen. But it was still some pretty nice animals, and of course I enjoy sharing them with you just as much as I enjoy actually encountering them. So I always say, if you like the content, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I hope to see you all out there in the field. Take care, stay safe. Later on.